I'm literally editing season 2, episode 2 right now. If I don't record this, I'm going to forget it. There's a chance Oliver may not have killed Leo Mueller. Not just because, oh, it happened off screen. One, because it would fit with the number that the show previously gave us. Because I was always one off with fitting it for that number. But also, you know how much the freaking Arrowverse loves the number 52. There's a reason I made a counter for it. If Oliver didn't kill Leo Mueller, he would have killed 52 people in season 1. Which, because I'm counting it, would increase the 52 counter by 1. I don't know if that counts. I don't know if Oliver did it or not. All I'm saying is I have evidence to support the fact he didn't. Crazy evidence, but I have evidence. Now, back to my intro. Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, my name is Demigod Shmurda here, and welcome back to another video, and welcome back to another episode of Arrowverse Analysis. With Arrow's first season behind us, it's time for us to jump into season 2, which many people consider to be the peak of the Arrowverse. Personally, I disagree, but there's definitely a lot to like about this season. After all, this is the season that introduced us to Sarah Lance, arguably the best female character in the Arrowverse, managed to make a 2-part backdoor pilot of sorts for The Flash, and had arguably the series' best villain in Slade Wilson. And those are just the major bullet points. There's tons that this season gets right, lots to appreciate here, and it holds up really well, even 10 years later. So let's take a look at how this season began. If this is your first episode and you're wondering how my rating system works, there's a detailed description down below, along with a link to all my other episodes of Overanalysis, but I encourage you to watch this one first. I'm sure you'll still enjoy it. By the way, I did read that Stephen Amell is returning to the role of Oliver Queen for The Flash's final season. And if I'm being honest, I have mixed feelings about that. Full disclosure, I think the season will be hot ass. I do think it's really cool that Oliver's going to show up in the final season to bring things full circle, since his show was the one that started this universe. I hope we get a scene between Oliver and Barry that parallels this one from the Flash pilot.
All my life I've wanted to just do more, be more, and now I am. And the first chance I get to help someone, I screw up.
I don't think that bolt of lightning struck you, Barry. I think it chose you.
I'm just not sure I'm like you, Oliver.
You can be better, because you can inspire people in a way that I never could. Watching over your city like a guardian angel, making a difference, saving people. In a flash.
However, considering that it's already been leaked that Javicia Leslie is going to be playing Red Death, I don't really see a way to make the Red Death character a satisfying villain for Barry. Don't get that twisted. I understand the choice to bring in Javicia as Red Death, since that character is canonically a version of Bruce Wayne from the Dark Multiverse. However, the reason that character is effective is because Bruce Wayne and Barry Allen have an actual friendship in the comics. Not the case with Arrowverse Barry and any member of the Bat Gang. So if you're gonna take Barry and put him up against yet another villain that has absolutely no personal connection to him, I'm sorry, but I really just don't care. Until the Batwoman series, it was Oliver Queen that was treated as the Arrowverse's Batman. And thanks in no small part to Batwoman being a terrible show, a lot of people, myself included, still see Oliver in that role. I understand wanting Batwoman to be the one that turns into Red Death, attempting for once to maintain a tiny ounce of comic accuracy, but sometimes things need to be different from the source material in order to make them interesting. See Stormfront from The Boys as a great, albeit less radical example. Not only does he have the personal connection with Barry that Bruce does in the comics, but it would be fulfilling in a way for Barry and Oliver to face off to bring this universe to a close, with Oliver being the man who started it all, and Barry being the man Oliver once described as being the best of us. the man Oliver was willing to give his life for, Barry finally triumphing over an alternate universe version of Oliver would be a fantastic full circle moment. It would also settle the debate that was once started during the Flash episode Flash vs. Arrow. That episode asked the question of who would win in a fight between the Arrow and the Flash. And while I think it's pretty obvious what the answer should be, it's never been explicitly answered. Yeah, there was an offhanded comment like, there were no witnesses the second time, but as for an actual fight that happens on screen, we've gotten nothing. And with all the Chekhov's guns that still need to be fired in this final season, having Barry fight Oliver as Red Death would be an easy way to fire that one. And as a final point, bringing this universe's stand-ins for Batman and Superman together in a big battle would be the ultimate way to send off a connected DC universe. I think Oliver Queen is the only logical choice for who should be behind Red Death's mask if that character will be brought to the Arrowverse. And if it's not gonna be Oliver, don't even do it. With that out of the way, let's return to the overanalysis. Arrow's second season kicked off on October 9th, 2013 with the episode City of Heroes, directed by John Baring. While Oliver tries to save his family's company and comes to grips with Tommy's death, Dig and Felicity try to convince him to put the suit back on. When a group calling themselves the Hoods kidnaps Thea, Oliver is forced to take their advice, making a vow to no longer be the killer he once was. They recreate this shot without the island filter to show that Oliver came back to the island. Oh, look at this! The CG is already so much better in Season 2. Oh, look at this! Oh, yep, there's the Amazo!
Thanks for waiting until we touch down.
You can see Felicity's throwing up over here, which is, that's a callback to Darkness on the Edge of Town, where, you know, it just reinforces her fear of heights. Right there, that's telling you who the villain is this season. Right there is Shadow's dragon tattoo, and right there is the Bratva tattoo. I cannot see... maybe if I squinted you could kind of make out the Constantine tattoo, but, you know, his arm's partially covering it, and there's this lens flare here. Oh, the plane is still here! Oh, the Constantine tattoo is there. I paused it at a bad time, but the Constantine tattoo is there. Yeah, you can see it right there in motion.
Your mother's in prison, Oliver. Her trial's coming up.
All the bad press after the undertaking left Queen Consolidated ripe for a hostile takeover by Stelmore International.
Ooh. Oh, the camera motion and the shots are so much more dynamic. Visually, this is just a step up from Season 1. Slade!
That's Fire's proximity detector. Those are not animals. We're not alone on this island.
This graffiti says stick the cops because they can't say fuck the cops. Because it's the CW.
Here's everything on Stelmore International. The Vice President of Acquisitions is a woman named Isabel Rochev.
Who's played by Summer Glau.
Have you made it to Iron Heights?
To visit the woman who dropped her city on 500 innocent people?
That's not what Mom did.
Right. She had no choice. She did. A choice not to be a mass murderer.
Remember, that was never the intention of the undertaking. That was the intention of Malcolm's undertaking, but Moira's, or at the very least the Robert's version of the undertaking, included the blackmail of all of these people that were on the list, or trying to get them to stop doing the horrible shit that they were doing. It didn't include the earthquake until Malcolm brought that in, and even then, Moira and Robert tried to stop that from happening. Which I feel Moira could tell Thea, Oliver could tell Thea, Thea could figure out on her own, someone could tell her.
But I am so happy you are home. Look, I need to deal with our liquor distributor who shorted me on yesterday's delivery, and one of my bartenders called in sick.
It's nice to see you like this.
Like what?
Grown up?
Together.
A representative from Central City says construction on the Star Labs particle accelerator should be completed by Christmas.
I thought that they didn't call attention to it. No, they just put it right in there. Channel 52, 52 counter.
We have failed this We are the Hoods. And what was taken from us, we will take back.
Having someone do something like that and not shoot you, that's enough to traumatize someone. Yikes.
You've got one very brave daughter there, sir.
Yeah, one daughter's right, and I can't stand to lose another.
Hinting at Sarah.
I know it wasn't exactly cheating because Tommy had broken up with me. All I know is that I feel like I betrayed him, and there's nothing I can do to make it right.
I know how that feels. When I brought your sister on the Queen's Gambit, I betrayed you. There's no forgiveness for what I led Sarah into. I would give anything.
Aww.
To go back.
These two have come a long way since the first episode.
But we can't go back.
They're just doing what you did last year, terrorizing 1%ers into cleaning up their act. Except they don't have your restraint, Oliver.
Hey, that's exactly what Oliver said about Joseph Falk. And now Diggs come around on that idea. Goddamn. Rather it was Felicity that needed to, but still.
We off the mayor on live TV, and what's the local news keep showing? We've been going about this wrong. If we want real payback, we gotta take the fight to the name that did this to us.
He looks very familiar to the guy that they got to play Hoover on Legends of Tomorrow. Hey, I was right, it is the same guy. Oh, he was also on Once Upon a Time. Cool.
Birth of the Queen. What, did you drop a vertigo when I wasn't looking?
Oh, you should not joke about that, Roy!
Both my parents weren't worth a damn. Still, I'd be glad to see them. Your mom, she's still here, and I'm sure she'd love to see you.
Just like a lot of mothers in the Glades who won't ever get to see their kids again. I'm not going to that prison. It's the only way I know how to hurt her.
Sorry I'm late.
For this meeting or a career in business?
Damn!
Since you majored in dropping out of college, let me put this in terms that are easy for you to understand. You control 45% of Queen Consolidated stock. I control 45%, leaving 10% outstanding. But in 2 days, the board will release the final 10%.
And I'll buy it before you do.
I doubt your trust fund is that large, and no angel investor will go near the company that built the machine that destroyed half the city.
Oliver Queen! Failed this city.
Sure. Ooh. Oh, look at these shots. Might have been a slight Hawkeye reference there. I think Avengers came out in 2012 of Hawkeye doing that shot and then going through the window. Although that's a bit of a stretch. I'm sure that's a decently common shot. I do find it interesting though that Hawkeye called out the zip tie shot from the Arrow pilot during their show. And so it's kind of like, if that is indeed a reference, it's a little, full circle moment.
You could have stopped those guys.
Yeah, not without giving Isabel Rochev and the Hoods a pretty good idea what I'm capable of. There's a part of being the Hood that neither one of you are considering. The body count.
The body count, as I counted it in season 1, is 53! Which is higher than I was expecting. God damn!
My best friend died thinking that I was a murderer. Anyone that I kill dishonors his memory.
Where do you think you're going?
Flanking position. If they get the drop on you, you'll want some backup. 小心啊.
What's your daughter?
She's teaching you Chinese. How sweet.
If I'd known the key to you taking your rightful place at the company was its demise, I would have declared bankruptcy a year ago.
Still more. Their VP is coming after us hard.
Isabel Rochev. Do not trust that woman, Oliver. She is dangerous.
I don't know what to do.
You don't have to do it yourself.
We're looking for Oliver Queen!
Oh, I think you can see the stunt guy there.
Back off, hero. I'm just as happy to kill this queen as her brother. Let's go!
One of the guys was missing a hand. They came here looking for you. They took Thea instead.
I missed this bunker. You can see there's his suit right there.
I kept that. Yeah, I liked watching you do that.
Thea's boyfriend said one of them was missing part of his hand. Check hospital records, any males that have had surgical amputations on their extremities.
Jeff DeVoe, African American, late 30s. It says here he and his wife were trying to make it across the 52nd Street Bridge when it collapsed. She didn't make it.
Wait, did she say 50 seconds? God damn it, 52 counter.
Made a lot of calls to a church in the Glades, something called Standing Strong. It's a support group for those who lost loved ones in the quake.
Great place to meet 3 other guys as angry as you, looking for a little payback.
Hey, there's his compound bow.
You were right.
Once I signed on, I stopped thinking about all the bodies you dropped. Maybe there's another way.
They have my sister. What other way is there?
You are not the only one who cares for her. But there are a lot of them. Wait for my signal.
Where are the graves?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, that one I don't agree with.
Offing Oliver Queen's one thing, but his sister? She's not much older than my sister was when she was killed in the earthquake.
Your sister wasn't killed, she was murdered.
She didn't kill anybody.
Said Thea.
Marlon killed my father. She thought he killed my brother, too. She must have been so afraid.
Just like my wife, when our house collapsed on top of her.
Nice!
There was no justice for people like the Queen till you showed us how to get it.
Ooh. Oh, Oliver saved him. I wonder how many Easter eggs are in this gravesite. I just realized how morbid that was that I said that. Wait, does that says May 15th, 2013. That was the day that the Arrow Season 1 finale aired. It's very rare that we actually get dates like that established in universe. I just think that's really cool. And that it coincidentally lines up like that. That's sick. Thomas Merlin.
I still need you in my life.
We've been through too much for it to be any other way.
Friends it is.
He was killed in the crossfire between two archers. And now that Malcolm's dead, there's only one archer left. And I'm gonna help my boss catch him.
That must suck for Moira to see.
So how have you been?
Oh, it's so cliche, but I love it.
I almost died last night. I kept thinking that if I died, you would spend the rest of your life thinking that I hated you. And I want to hate you, but I can't.
Because you're her mom.
If I hug you, are they gonna shoot us?
Oh, oh, that was so cute.
What if I found someone to invest new equity capital?
Your last name is now associated with mass murder. Even you don't have that good a friend. Mr. Steele, it was my understanding that you had resigned as CEO.
I'm now Chief Financial Officer of Starling National Bank, and my institution has committed rescue financing for Mr. Queen.
Now, I know I majored in dropping out, but I'm pretty sure that makes us partners going forward.
You aren't at all what people say about you.
Most people fail to see the real me.
I love little lines like that because of the secret identity thing.
Miss Smoke.
Mr. Steele.
And that little expression between them. Because, you know, he was the reason she joined Team Arrow. Alright, here we're gonna zoom out, and right there you can see the Amazo.
Hey, I'm gonna pick us up some Big Belly Burger right now. I'll see you later.
I'm gonna count the name drops. I'm gonna count the name drops from here on out, because it's not a regular location we visit anymore. Oh, and it's a Big Belly Burger employee. Oh, that's why he said that. It's the Canary! Dude, this was sick. Even if just in retrospect, seeing Sarah show up here, this was sick. Knowing Green Arrow lore, seeing that this is the way they introduced the Black Canary, that's so sick. I didn't like this premiere very much when I first watched Season 2, but I enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I would. I'm giving the plot a 5. With this episode coming off that massive season finale, we really get to explore how that affected Starling City. And now that they don't have to do so much setup for our main cast, that gives the episode a lot more time to breathe. I still think it straight up makes no sense that Oliver doesn't recognize the name Isabel Rochev from the list, since it's shown in An Innocent Man that he has an encyclopedic knowledge of everybody that's on it. But since it was just an Easter egg in Season 1 after all, I'm willing to overlook it. How Oliver got to the top of that balcony without the copycat noticing him, though, makes no sense. The scenes with Thea, Roy, Moira, and Isabel might seem like they'd take away from the episode, but they really don't here. The episode has really good pacing so that it constantly seems like a lot is happening, even during the downtime of the episode where Thea and Roy at the club. This episode is fast, it's fun, it's easy to follow, the dialogue is witty, it's just a massive step up from Season 1 across the board. It's pretty clear that characterization is a 5. Even the copycats have a surprising amount of depth to them. They're not just bad people doing bad things, they're people displaced and hurt by the undertaking. And they have varying levels of intensity and commitment to what they're doing. For example, it's shown multiple times during the episode that the one played by Hoover isn't fully on board with the Hoods. I do wish the episode actually did something with that, but there was a lot happening, so I don't blame them for not going all in on that idea. And remember, I gave Legacies a 5 when they did the exact same thing back in Season 1. The one complaint you could make would probably be Isabel Roshev not being that deep, but she's a very brief footnote in the episode compared to all the other good moments from these characters. Slamming that guy's head in with a rock is definitely something that Season 5 flashback Oliver would be more likely to do than Season 1 or 2 Oliver, though. I'm inclined to give the visuals a 5 as well. Much like the writing, they're a noticeable step up from Season 1, which means this is probably the only time in CW history where a season that was really successful and well-received actually got more funding on its sequel season. And yeah, I'm still pissed Stargirl didn't get the same treatment. But the noticeable budget increase did not distract me from the attention to detail in the episode, like specific lines of dialogue or background elements of certain shots. Stuff like that feels very purposeful when you know what's coming. And of course there's the novelty in seeing Sarah show up at the end. There's noticeably less cuts in these fights, but it's still nothing compared to what James Bamford is truly capable of. But I'd rather have a bad fight and great purposeful visuals everywhere else than have a fantastic fight with no care put into anything else. The fight in this episode's climax being good just heightens an already great-looking episode's score. Clearly, importance is a 5, whether it be Oliver's return and change in how he's operating, the introduction of the Canary, or the hints at Central City's Particle Accelerator project, it goes without saying that this episode is a necessity for a good binge. And entertainment's a 5. That gives City of Heroes a score of 25 out of 25. I didn't expect to give this episode a perfect score, but it fits all the criteria for it. I had a blast with this episode, and it was a great season premiere. Good thing we're kicking the season off with a high note. Let's see if our next episode keeps this momentum going. Nick Kopus, who previously directed Trust But Verify and Salvation, returns to direct Identity, which first aired on October 16th, 2013. When China White and Bronze Tiger begin stealing supplies that are needed by a hospital in the Glades, Oliver is forced to choose what's more important: his public image, or getting those supplies to the people who need them. How'd Roy get a police radio? Well, that wasn't a police radio, but... Ooh! She's back with a better wig this time!
Yesterday, Big Belly Burger got robbed.
Was Carly there? She okay?
It was a day off.
Because I can charge you with obstruction right now.
Deliberately make something difficult. Yeah, okay.
I used to feel the same way as you. He has this way of seducing you.
Putting you under a spell, mayhaps.
I want to ask you not to blame her.
For what? Falling under your spell?
Look, some of us are just trying to make it better.
Who, like you in the hood?
There are others. I've seen her.
I'm not interested in anyone else.
Which is funny, considering who they're talking about.
Ask him if he knows anything about the Vigilante.
Doesn't sound like the Vigilante to have a groupie.
That's just it. We don't know anything about the Vigilante.
I used to be a lot like you, Roy. The world doesn't work anymore. It broke a long time ago, but it was like you were the only one who noticed. That makes you angry. I think it's gonna put you in the hospital, kid.
It's better to be dead than in the hospital these days. Been to the Glades Memorial lately? The medicine that FEMA's been sending the hospital is being hijacked.
By who?
I don't know.
Ooh, that was a good cut. Yes, we remember. We don't need a pointless flashback. This isn't the Flash.
It's a map.
Oh, they kept the blood splatter on his face.
Oliver Queen, isn't it?
I'm going to do everything in my power to atone for my family's culpability in this tragedy.
Well, I'm sure the people of the Glades that I represent will sleep better knowing that. If they still had a place to sleep. If their homes hadn't crumbled around them. if their stores and their businesses hadn't been condemned.
Jeez, he just keeps going! Oh, jeez. Oh wait, they didn't have it that time. Also, that person should be charged with property damage.
We all need to have secret identities now. If I'm going to be Oliver Queen's CEO, then I can't very well travel down 18 floors every time you and I need to discuss how we spend our nights.
I worked very hard to get where I am, and it wasn't so I could fetch you coffee.
I need you to figure out how the hijackers are getting a line on the goods earmarked for Glade's memorial. If we know how they're picking their targets,
We'll know when and where to stop them.
May I get you a cup of coffee?
you're not actually offering to get me a cup of coffee, are you?
Yeah, nope. That won't be happening. Ever.
Well, if you can bring yourself to do it, can you please make reservations for Dig, Carly, and I Saturday night at Table Salt?
Sure. I'll get right on that. Using the internet, which you also happen to have access to.
Wow, her spite levels are off the charts this episode. Channel 52 News. Number shows up everywhere.
You saved my life.
That's what I keep telling myself. I just feel like this island is turning me into something terrible.
No place can make you something you're not.
So I've always been a killer?
Everyone has a demon inside of them.
Oh, there's the dragon tattoo, but I don't need to see the rest of this.
No, please, don't.
I feared you had perished in the quake, denying me the opportunity to pay you back in full for your past interference in my business.
Your business is going under.
I don't think my friend agrees with you.
Meet Bronze Tiger, played by Michael Jai White. Oh, you can see the scratch marks actually show up on the side of the truck. Wow, this fight is not very good.
I love that we live in a city where the police are more interested in catching you than the drug-stealing mobsters.
This time was different.
Why? Because this time it's Laurel leading the charge?
I can't make things better as Oliver Queen, and now I can't make things better as the vigilante. So what if Laurel's involved?
You don't get to jump down his throat just because you happen to be having a lousy week. Okay, you're pissed. He invoked the almighty Laurel. Well, you're not the only one whose love life is taking it on the chin.
Felicity.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about, you keep bringing up Carly, but you're so involved with yourself that you don't even realize the look he gets every time you do.
What is she talking about?
Me and Carly pulling the pin. This isn't just about you, man. I couldn't separate what was going on with me and Carly and what went on with my brother.
Dead shot.
He's still out there. Guess I couldn't hate him and love her at the same time.
I wanted Laurel to arrest you.
You know, you're not the first girlfriend to say that to me.
That has some implications.
Just because I can't change you doesn't mean I have to let you be in my life until you get yourself killed. My brother gave me that when he came back from the dead. Said it was a hosen, some Buddhist thing that symbolizes reconnecting. And I don't do all that great with people I love getting hurt.
Miss Smoke. Yes. Would you get my guest and I some coffee?
You know, I would, Mr. Queen, but it seems that someone's broken our coffee maker.
Not every problem can be solved by money. Real change will never happen until your elitist friends realize that it is morally unacceptable to allow thousands of its fellow citizens to live right down the street but in a third world.
Then let's show them. I'll host a benefit. Invite some of my elitist friends, and then you and I can help them see what needs to be done.
She's a distraction. And in a place like this, a distraction is going to cloud your judgment. And that is what's going to get you killed. Look at what this island has already done to you, kid.
Everyone's jumping down Oliver's throat this episode, goddamn. I mean, they all have reasons to, but still.
You used to think that I was helping the people in this city.
The night of the earthquake, I saw you at CNRI. My friend was inside the building when it collapsed. He went there to rescue me. And by the time I managed to climb inside, he was gone. But I saw you running away into the night. You didn't save him. You were too busy fighting a meaningless duel with Malcolm Merlin.
I mean, did you see the rebar sticking out of Tommy's stomach, though, Laurel? I think it's pretty obvious. Tommy was dead, and there was nothing Oliver could do about it. And he tried, by the way, not that she knows that, and Tommy was like, no, stop, and regardless, he was bleeding out. He might have died before he got to a hospital.
I hacked into FEMA's server and was able to find out when the next shipment of pharmaceuticals is taking place.
When?
5 minutes ago.
Doesn't seem Mr. Queen is going to honor us with his presence this evening.
You're just gonna crucify him in the media again?
Crucifixion has such a bad reputation, but the Romans used it to punish people who acted against the public good.
Ah, damn.
But you should hold your applause for Oliver Queen. This evening's charity was his brainchild. You could be forgiven for wondering why Mr. Queen isn't with us tonight. And the answer, I'm afraid, is painfully apparent. He doesn't care.
Now that shot with the hood is reused.
I told Mr. Queen that this city's problems cannot be solved with his money. That he needed to stand up and be counted as someone who cares. So where is he now?
Lieutenant, we got a hood sighting headed down Lemire Avenue.
This city is dying. And it needs someone to stand up and breathe new hope into it. And tonight, it is painfully obvious that that person is not Oliver Queen.
I didn't think that that speech happened this early.
This is supposed to be live surveillance.
What the hell is this building doing here? It was destroyed in the quake.
Who in the hell can be feeding us year-old surveillance?
You're not the only one allowed to bring a friend!
I like that they have the sound of this moving in the background, or of the paper stuff. Oh my god!
Go ahead, waste your arrows.
Oh, that one was an explosive one.
That hurt, but it won't stop me.
Oh, not an explosive, but a taser arrow. Well, the sound effects are a little late there.
The police can take the shipment the rest of the way.
They still won't see you as anything more than the enemy.
As long as the city is safe, it doesn't matter.
I do like, too, that we're getting more trick arrows now. Taser arrow, bola arrow.
After a prolonged pursuit, police have arrested Xian Nao Wei.
Wow, we actually get the name drop of China White. Alright.
I was just about to make my move on her. I didn't need one of your trick arrows getting in the way.
I'm sorry about you and Carly. I'm sorry that I wasn't there for you, because I should have been. I got wrapped up in my own suffering, and I forgot that some other people might be suffering too.
She brought him coffee. Felicity needs to apologize for jumping down his throat. That doesn't happen.
To those men, this location could have been on any one of 150 different islands.
Welcome to the graves.
The skulls are misshapen.
Oh, yeah, they are.
What happened to these people?
Whatever did happen to them was over 60 years ago. These soldiers belonged to the Japanese Imperial Army.
Love how he can just tell that. Hey, the Hosen.
You need to stop.
You saved my life! Made me realize it wasn't much of a life. I could help you save the city.
But not by taking on the Triad or the cops. You can be my eyes and ears in the glades. Leave that in the alley wall, and I'll know to contact you.
If it's a choice between life with you or life without you, life with you will win every single time. I'm done trying to be a hero.
And he's so full of crap.
I told you to stay away from me.
I thought you might have changed your mind after I stopped the men terrorizing our city.
This isn't your city. It's your killing fields.
The copycats are still alive.
Tommy Merlin isn't.
I lost a friend that day too, and I would gladly have given my life for his.
Well, don't worry, your life is over.
What a way to end an episode on that shot. That's a nice shot. I don't really have a lot to say about this one. I'm gonna give the plot a 3. There's a lot of episodes of superhero shows like this, where the superheroics get in the way of something important in the hero's normal life, but that doesn't mean this episode is bad by any means. Tropes exist for a reason. It's an effective use of the superhero double life thing. You know, the Peter Parker dilemma. Throwing off the cops with false footage was pretty smart, though I did only notice it during editing. Characterization's a 3. What, I'm moving on from plot already? Yeah, I said I didn't have much to say about this one. It might just be me, but I find it out of character for Felicity to just jump down Oliver's throat like that. And it's not an isolated incident, it happens several times during the episode. If it were me, yeah, it would suck to be the assistant too, but I would have understood Oliver's reasoning for putting me in that position instead of snapping at him incessantly. That said, I can side with her for doing it when Oliver yelled at Dig for making that joke about Laurel. Oliver was out of line and needed some tough love in that moment to realize it. I do think Oliver was trying to be nice when asking Dig about Carly, though. He clearly didn't have any malicious intent, even telling Dig, if it's important to you, it's important to me, which he must have learned in between seasons. Bronze Tiger is just a thug with a gimmick here. We don't really get much characterization for him until Season 7's prison storyline. On the plus side, though, I do like Sebastian Blood, and I always have. And I appreciate how the writers have begun sowing the seeds of Oliver and Slade clashing later on. Visuals will get a 2. The shot that really gets me for this episode is Blood's speech about how Oliver doesn't care about the city as he's suiting up to go shut down China White. And yeah, we've seen more shots like that in other shows and movies, but it's still effective because of the dichotomy. The fights in this episode kinda suck though. I do find it kinda ironic that I managed to spot Kelly Hu's stunt double at least once during both this episode and Honor Thy Father, with both being the second episodes of their respective seasons. That's just ironic and funny to me. I'll give importance a 4. Sure, this episode introduces Bronze Tiger, but while it introduces Sebastian Blood and brings us to the graves on Lian Yu, the season's major plot hasn't been set up yet, so I can't give it that 5. I guess they get a few extra points for that cliffhanger, though. I've given points out for stuff like that before. And I'll give entertainment a 3. This episode has a bunch of funny moments, though some of them are at the expense of the characters. My interest in the episode never really waned, but especially coming off that insane premiere, this one was just alright. That gives Identity a score of 15 out of 25. That might seem like it's on the lower end for scores, but the episode is fairly average, even with that decent importance score. Remember, episodes like Lone Gunman and Trust But Verify didn't have the best scores either, but that didn't make them bad episodes. 15 is a respectable score. Now let's get into the wrap-up. During City of Heroes, Oliver and Felicity jump out a window to safety, and when they land, it really looks like it could all be one continuous shot. If you're paying close enough attention, however, you'll notice that when the camera moves behind this box thing, it shifts slightly downward, and the office is lit a little bit better too. You can also tell some of the things on the desks and floor are in slightly different places than the earlier shot of the stunt doubles. That was a really well hidden and not so obvious cut. Very well done. I'm not sure if I should count each separate instance of Channel 52 news appearing for the 52 counter, or if I should just make that a single addition to the counter since it exists in the universe. However, if I did that, I might have to remove a few instances from the Big Belly Burger counter, since they visited that building quite a few times during Season 1. I'm gonna leave that up to you guys to decide, but just know I only counted one use of Channel 52 news for this video. But anyway, that is it for this episode, guys. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to leave a like and a comment. That'd be greatly appreciated. Also, be sure to click that subscribe button if you haven't already so that you can join us as soon as friggin' possible. And while I'm plugging everything else, be sure to click the bell so that you get notified whenever we upload one of these crappy videos. But apart from that, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys. This is Demigod Shmurda,